The truth is, we tend to think very little about the influence we have. We think that just because we don't have a lot of social media followers, just because we don't know that many people, that we can't have a real influence on people. We can't have a real impact on the world. We think that our opportunities to influence people are limited just because we see ourselves as normal people. This couldn't be further from the truth. Stop underestimating your influence, because you, as well as me, as well as every normal person, has the power to influence. And I'm not even talking about potential to in the future. Again, right now in your situation, right now in this context, you're able to influence so many people. The words you speak, the actions you do, even those conversations which you've forgotten you've had, even those things which you forget that you say, even the things which you forget that you do, they all have the power to transform someone's life. And I know that for a fact because of a testimony in my life. I was reflecting on this a little while back, and I was thinking of a moment where a seed was planted in me by someone who didn't even realize that they were planting a seed. So to set the scene, it's a beautiful summer's day and it's Wireless Festival 2023. So I went with a couple of my boys and a couple of their mutuals as well. We meet in London, and what I do is I hand my bags over to them. They go to the Airbnb and drop the bags off, and I meet them at the festival. So from there, we obviously have a good time at the festival, rage, mosh pit, turn up, all of that stuff, right? But the end of the festival comes and we've lost each other in the pits. I tried going on my phone to get in contact with them because it's just me alone, and there were 4 others, and I think they had lost each other as well. So I was on my phone, trying to text them, trying to message them. Green bubble. My messages weren't going through, so I know they weren't receiving it. My calls weren't going through. My service was low, my data was low, my battery was low. I was stressing. And as I said before, I didn't go to the Airbnb, so I couldn't really make it back there by myself. So I was relying on meeting up with these guys and sticking with these guys to get back home safe. Otherwise, I'd be roaming the streets of London homeless. So as I said, I'm stressing. I don't know what to do. Everybody from the festival's leaving, they're going down to the train station, and I'm just lurking about, walking in circles, not knowing what to do. Shall I just go to the train station, or shall I stick here for 20 more minutes and see if anyone turns up? You can see the dilemma I was in. So after a few void phone calls and not being able to message them, I'm like, man, I should probably just get a move on. So I get to the underground station and it's a massive queue. I'm looking to see if I can find any of my guys. Can't find anyone. And the thing is, this Airbnb that we booked, it wasn't even in London, it was on the outskirts. So we'd have to get the underground, then the train, and then Uber. So I was like, I don't even know the route. I don't know how to get there, especially from the last train station. Don't have Uber on my phone. So at this point, still stressing, just trying to find my way back. Go from Northern Line over to Elizabeth Line. And as I'm waiting for this last train, I just sit down and I'm just like, I hope I can get home safe. And as I said before, I'm navigating this whole journey by myself without anyone else. I'm sitting down, and guess who I hear, like, coming down the tunnel? I'm like, yo, that voice sounds familiar. So I stand up, I turn around, and there's 3 of the guys who I was staying with. They scream, Jesse! And they come over, and I'm like, man, what a relief. And I was just so glad to see them. I was so glad because now I can finally get home safe. But now we're wondering, where's our other boy? So from there we traveled together and we had to stop off for another train. We sit down, we're still trying to get in contact with our boy, but we can't. And guess who turns up? Yes, you guessed correctly, the 5th man. So from being completely lost, navigating our journeys back to the Airbnb by ourselves, not knowing the times of the trains, not knowing which ones we were getting on, we all meet together without any communication. And I was just sat there thinking, like, what are the chances this happened? We could have got different trains which left us in different places at different times, yet somehow at the very same time we managed to get to this last train station together and meet up without any communication. That was just baffling to me. And as we finally linked up and got all together again, something which one of my friends was saying was, God did. You know, that thing that Ray was saying back in the day, Ray and Kai, God did. At the time, I was a non-believer, but I was searching. I was looking at a lot of different things, religion, spirituality, philosophy, all these different things. But those 2 words, which they said from that experience that we had, God did, planted a seed. That very moment sparked up a curiosity, it sparked up a thought, which contributed to why I researched more and more into these different things, into religion, into God. because again, the chances of that happening were so slim. I could have been lost for the night. I could have been homeless for the night, right? We all could have been, but somehow we all came together and got home safely. So what were the chances? That very thing, what were the chances? But him saying God did, it planted a seed in me. And it's not something which I realized until a few weeks ago. I was pondering, I was like, man, maybe those words which he said planted a significant seed into why I was researching so much. I mean, it definitely wasn't the whole reason. It would be fair enough, right? But there were many different things, but that could have played a part into that. And it's only on reflection now where I realized that. And I was speaking to him about it not long ago. And I said, your words, you saying God did in this moment, it planted a seed, and it may have been a contributing factor to where I am right now. And he couldn't even remember saying that. He had no clue what I was talking about. Like, is that not crazy? But that influenced me. That again planted a seed. It was many of the seeds which were planted in me, which led me to seeking God. It led me to learning about him. It led me to be more curious about God's existence. It made me wonder, if there is a God, who is he? Is the God of the Bible true? Is the God of the Quran true? Is spirituality true? Who is God? What is God? And it led me to pursuing that truth, to pursuing the answer and seeking the answer for that question. So not only was it that experience that I had, but it was the power of the words which he said, which influenced me to do that. And look where that path has led me. That very same month, right, July 2023, was the month where I started to go deeper and deeper, and was the very same month which I bought my first ever Bible. And when I was speaking to him about this the other day, I was just saying, like, don't underestimate your influence. And this is the word that I want to share with you, right? Do not underestimate your influence, because the words which you forget you said, those conversations which you've completely forgotten about, every action that you do, through all of these, you're able to influence people in massive ways. And that's something that we shouldn't take lightly, and something that we shouldn't take for granted. This is something that we want to capitalize on. Every conversation which you have, every word you say, can be that chance to plant a seed, can be that chance to influence somebody to seek God, to influence somebody to develop their relationship, to influence someone to just think about it. And in that situation, that was the case. It influenced me to think about it, think about God's existence, thinking about chances and probability versus God. Don't see yourself as someone who has the potential to influence people in the future, but see yourself as someone who has that power, who has that influence right now. Understanding that we all have influence is the reason why I'm filming this video right now, because I know that, even if 10 people watch this video, it could impact and influence one person to go out and do something influential for the kingdom. Like, think of the knock-on effect that has. That is such a positive impact. That is such a positive impact. Even if I'm to influence just one person, that is one of the reasons of my whys. Like, why am I doing this? Because I know that if it influences one person to get closer to God, then my work is worth it. I'm not an influencer in that aspect. I'm not a big YouTuber. I'm not anything. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy. I'm just someone who wants to serve God and, again, influence people to his kingdom, for his kingdom. And with each opportunity I get, I want to take that. Many people will relate to you. Many people will relate to your story. Many people will consider and think about the things which you have said to them, think about the things which you have done. So talk as if you have influence, walk as if you have influence, act as if you have influence, and use your influence for good and for God. In Jesus' name, we out.